What's up, my G? I'm back, and I'm gonna walk you through how I use metal obtuse internal angle. Very basic stuff, very easy. And I'm also gonna reply to a comment of a friend on Facebook, Mr. Scott D. Make sure you're watching this one's for you. He asked me a question. He said, every time you use the stapler, how you keep getting it in the hole? How come you're not missing? He pretty much said that when he tries, he misses, and the staples, they tend to bend or they tend to go through the actual metal, and he wants to know how I do it, where I get it through the hole. This is the obtuse internal metal bead right here. Just to show you, this is the obtuse external angle. It has a lip up here, nothing happening in the inside of it. And this is the internal angle. Doesn't have much on the back of it, right? But you can kind of get it confused, so don't get it confused. If you spin it around, right, in the actual internal, it has a lip inside it. There's a little lip there instead of it being on the outside like the obtuse external angle. I gotta be quick, I've already mixed up. Very basic stuff, very easy stuff. I'm gonna sit it here. Now, before I even sit this guy into the internal, I usually get about 4 of them, okay? 4 of them, 5, 6, put them together, lay them down on the floor, and I actually step on them, I walk on them. Now, what that does for me is that it's going to push it outwards, right? Giving me enough gap to be able to cover this metal right here, because it is important that you cover the metal. If you don't cover the metal, then you obviously know that you're not really doing anything but create a big mess that's going to cost you a little money and time to fix. So that's one thing. The other thing is that because it's very annoying, not just for the plasterers or the drywallers, but for the chippies or the carpenters, it's very annoying, I'm assuming, to actually build out an obtuse wall. I just assume that you go through a little bit of extra work, which then means that there's a higher chance that the wall might not be, you know, on the right angle, right? So by stepping on it, it gives me enough gap to be able to adjust my obtuse angle in order to cover that bead, if you know what I'm saying, right? So step on them is very important, but do not overstep on them, because you're gonna create a big gap, and you don't want a big gap that you have to fill. And if the gap is too big, then the obtuse angle is not really gonna be an obtuse, because you just have to fill it too much that it might create a bowl. It just won't look good. So that's what I do right there. You're gonna need a 4-inch with you. You're gonna need a stapler. You cannot level this. If you really want to get all fancy with it, you can get a laser, but I'm not gonna do that. You just gotta make sure that it's sitting exactly where it needs to sit. So I got my 4-inch right here. Oh no, first sit it in the obtuse angle. Now I wanna check to see if I got a gap. You probably can't see it, but I can. I'm gonna sit it there on this side. I'm gonna come back this way and check if I got the same gap on both sides. If I do, that means it's sitting right in the obtuse, and I'm gonna shoot it. So I'm sitting it on the lip of the obtuse metal angle, and I'm gonna just make sure I get the same gap. When I do, that means I'm sitting right. I'm gonna lock that in right there. Very good. Now that we're good there, we're gonna do the top. I'm gonna go find a bucket. Similar idea. This actually seems to be a very good obtuse angle right there, but I wanna make sure I'm getting the same gap. If I don't get a gap, I can adjust this, making sure that it's sitting right in the center of that obtuse angle. I'm gonna lock that in there. That's pretty good there. It's sitting right where it needs to sit, but it's not exactly even everywhere, right? So I'm gonna continue that. If I need to adjust it, here I'm getting a massive gap. Here, not enough gap. I'm gonna adjust it, making sure that I got a similar gap. Just like that. And I'm gonna do that roughly around every 400. Okay. That's pretty much it. Now, to answer Scotty's question, here's what I do to make sure I get it in the hole every single time, right? So this is a stapler I'm using. It's a rapid stapler. I've got 10mm staples in here. The staples are shooting from right here, but that all doesn't matter. What matters is where do you put it? Because I use this stapler all the time, I've used the same one for I think 4 years, 5 years. I started testing it out. I used to just shoot, and I'll miss her. So I keep shooting until I started thinking. I thought to myself, what if I have my stapler right in the middle of that? Which I did. I started right in the middle. And I can also see it too. I can see that the staples are gonna shoot from right there to right there, which means I'm gonna be in the hole, I'm gonna be past it, right? But then when I had a closer look, I realized that my stapler, the actual width of the stapler was right at the edge of the hole there, and in the middle of that. I don't know if this all makes sense. And then that means if I shoot, it's gonna go through the hole. In other words, you just have to figure out where your stapler is shooting from and follow a pattern with the holes themselves to see where it makes sense to sit it, and sort of use the holes themselves to guide you so that you can get it in every single time, right? And because I know that, I also started messing around a little bit more and realized that if I can't shoot the stapler like this, but I can shoot it like this, what if I follow the same idea where I'm going this way along the middle of the hole and on the edge of, you know, the hole again, right? Similar idea, except I'm right there. And if I go like this, I can get it in that way, right? If I go like that, same thing. If I'm shooting it from this side, I go like this, I can get it in like that. If I'm shooting up, I can get it in. If I'm going down like this, watch out, look. If I go like this, all right, but this time I'm looking on this side so I can see where I'm at with the gun, and I shoot it in, I can get that in. You know what I'm saying? If I go like this along the middle of that, straight in, I can get that in. So it's kind of hard to explain, but the goal is to find, you know, what the stapler is doing. And you find like a little pattern that you always follow. If that makes sense, right? If I go this way, I get it. Here, I can't see anything, so I'm gonna change hands and look at this side over here, repeating the same idea like that. You get what I mean? But I am getting it in the hole. I was gonna say every single time, but all right. But I am getting it in the hole, you know, 80% or 90% of the time, right? I don't know if that answers your question. Just find the pattern, you'll figure it out. But anyways, now that we've got the obtuse internal on, how do you actually feel it? I'm gonna show you how we do that right now. Look, very, very easy, but very annoying. This is kind of like hard gear, crazy hard, like I'm shaking it so that it falls down. This is what you do. You're gonna repeat the same thing I've told you about internals. When you apply the mat in the internal, except you wanna make sure that your 4-inch is always in the middle of that lip there. All right, this is the trickiest part. This is why a lot of people prefer to use the paper one right there. So I want to make sure that I'm on my metal like that, because if I'm not on the metal, I'll show you, for example, I'm not in the center of it and I miss, I'm gonna do that, right? And that's no good because you're not feeling anything. Okay, so you want to feel it like that, making sure that you're in the middle every single time. Right, come up. Oh, see right there, I missed the middle. Just like that. When I come over here, get a little bit of gear like that. I'm gonna be on the middle on this side as well. Okay, I'm using a 4-inch, by the way. Just like that. See? Come up this side. Understand? Okay, now that we're happy, we're putting the same thing you already know with the internal. Get a little bit of gear like this. Gonna calm down, right? And then you're gonna make sure you're on the right side of the middle. You're gonna feather and clean up at the same time. Get a little bit more, making sure I'm on my middle there. Just like that, right? But you have to do both sides at the same time with this, because you're gonna just get a little stuff on the other side of that obtuse angle. So you're gonna do the same thing to this side without touching that metal like that. But don't worry about that, I'll clean it up pretty good. Right, come over here and clean it, right? That's pretty good there, except for this part here. When I'm happy, I'm gonna sort of just minimize the gear that's in the middle right there. Like this, right? Cool. Now that we're happy, we're gonna clean it up. This part is very important because you have to be on the metal, clean it up at the same time. Just like that. I'm gonna calm down. Okay, we create a little bit of a mess there. Come up here and do the same thing on this side. All right, just like that. Very easy stuff, just very annoying to do. If you can see the metal on both sides, I can see the metal here, I can see the metal there, that means you did a good job. If you can't see the metal, you have to continue cleaning it up until you see the metal all the way through. Otherwise, you overfilled, and as you know, overfilling your external is trouble, right? Repeating the same thing there, put a mat on, but you get the idea, right? Very basic stuff. Nothing too crazy, nothing amazing, but that is an obtuse metal internal angle, and that's how I do it right there. Shout out Scott D. Let me know if I answered your questions in the comment below. I appreciate you, my G. I'll catch you in the next video. Adios and peace out. Check it. Cool.